Let's see if this is going to work this time. Oh, thank you, Tracy Russo. I appreciate that. I am going to try this again. At least this time it's saying it's green. That is hilarious. Well, hello, Terry and Joni. I rebooted this time and it's still showing me green. So we're going to assume, even though now it's 8 o'clock, we're going to assume that it's going to stay green so that I can make sure I answer the questions that you might have had. Yeah, it does look like it's working now. So hopefully it'll stay that way. Thank you, Miss Tori. Oh my gosh. Very good. Yay! You can hear and see me now. Yes. Hey, Sheila Cuffy. Leah. I know, Miss Ethel. I have one video this week coming out. It was a request. I also have other videos, but what I have found is the business part for my embroidery has gotten so busy that it makes it difficult for me to be able to do videos and have videos done. Also, I am, hi, Miss Jackie Howard. Hello, how are you? Also, I have, not only have I gotten swamped with embroidery orders, there's also a separate part to the business for bling, and that has gotten bigger as well. So it's just been really busy around here. For lack of better words, really busy. So I haven't had the opportunity to really get into doing the videos like I would love to do, which is actually a huge favorite thing of mine to do. I love doing my videos because I like to teach and I like to train. So that being the case, Miss Ethel, I'm sorry. I don't have more videos out. I did enjoy doing them. Joni, I have considered hiring an assistant. I'm one of those who is, if it can't be done right, do it yourself type of people, and I have a hard time letting go of the reins of my horse. I want to ride my horse, not pass her off to somebody else. So that's a mental block that I need to get over, because at some point in time, as a business owner, um you have to let someone else in, and you have to let someone else take care of what needs to be done. And I have a hard time doing that. I really do. So I did and do have assistance for the bling part. I actually have my mom and her sisters. They're called the bling team, and they handle a lot of the bling. However, with embroidery, there isn't anybody here that can step in. So what I do have is an intern or someone who's interested in doing internship, but she works full time. So it makes it difficult for her schedule to fit to come and actually, work when I can work. So, we'll see. Miss Maria says I may have to buy another machine for my business. I have been looking at purchasing another machine, but I don't know, because it's just me. So I don't want to get another machine and then be overwhelmed and not get to use it because it's just too much going on. So I've been dealing with a lot of personal decisions and trying to restructure and determining what is best for my business right now. and my health. I have a couple of things going on, so it's like trying to find that balance, so to speak. And in doing so, I'm wanting to step back to something that's more my, not my speed, that's the wrong word. I want to step back to something that's more what I want and what I want to do. Because I've always said, and it is the truth, I do my business not because I have to, but because I want to. So that being the case, I don't have to be flooded with business, but I did choose to allow the business to get to that point. That being the case, I have to make decisions as to if I wanted to continue to grow in that direction or not. So I'm not sure about buying another machine, Miss Maria. I'm trying to think on what to do with that. And Kim Lace, yeah, it wasn't fun. It was, imagine on my end. And if I were not used to watching other really big YouTubers and seeing them have issues, I'd probably be a lot more embarrassed. But it is what it is. So I know it wasn't fun, and I apologize again for all of that. I'm gonna have to put a note up somewhere to remind me before going live. I do have a checklist. Checking the internet connection on the other side is not on that checklist because I assume they know that this is what I do, so don't unplug it. Yeah, sometimes they unplug it, so I'm gonna have to double check that. Miss Missy, you said hello. Can you give any advice on beginners struggling with the Cameo? Cameo, are you talking about the cutting machine? Cameo? I want to make sure that's what you're talking about because I actually don't use the Cameo. I use a Cricut cutting machine. So I want to make sure that you're talking about a cutting machine and not something else. Miss Maria says, don't overstress yourself. I've done it and the results were not good, and it is not good. It's not good because you have to what and it's getting completely off topic, and I'm going to go back and change the title of both of these live videos because it was supposed to be talking about hooping and floating. And I don't like giving a misconception, but that is an excellent topic. And Candia Hainsworth has actually addressed that on her channel on several occasions, which she's very good at helping ones um, get their businesses and their business mind in the right place. So to piggyback off of some of her information that she's given on her channel, it is important not to overstress yourself. Stress is a killer, actually. A lot of times we're sedentary because we're sitting in one place and we're crafting, sitting in one place. So when you are sedentary and you're stressing, it's a bad combination. And when you get stressed out, a lot of times you don't focus. For instance, earlier today, I was doing instant messaging with someone who was in here earlier. I don't know if Miss Karen is still in here, but she and I were discussing having issues picking up on some of the basics of embroidery. And she made a comment, that something wasn't smart. And I told her, no, this is what's not smart. I was kind of stressed this morning working on a project. I was trying to embroider a onesie. I put the embroidery on the machine and I used the fast frames, which also is what helped me decide whether to do the video on hooping or not hooping. But I was using fast frames. And for those who don't know what fast frames are, most instances when you do embroidery, there's a hoop. So with the hoop, there's a inside hoop and then there's the outside hoop, right? There's two pieces to it. You sandwich your stabilizer and your fabric and you hoop it. Or if you're floating, you would just only hoop your stabilizer and then float the piece on top. Well, with fast frames on the multi-needle machine is basically just the outside part of the hoop. Okay, and you attach the frame to the machine, but you use a special sticky stabilizer on the back and you can just set your item on the machine, and that's why it's called fast frames, because you don't have to actually hoop anything. It's basically floating. All right, so I was using a fast frame for a onesie and didn't check it. I didn't double check it because I was rushing. Okay, so I got through, it was applique. I got through one part of the applique, was halfway through the second applique. It was gorgeous, and I took it off to cut it, and when I took it off, something said check it, and I had embroidered straight through the onesie. It wasn't even on the machine correctly. So I was embroidering through the whole darn onesie. So when you're stressed, like I was rushing, you make mistakes. And I tend to do that. And that's frustrating, because I'll get distracted. I don't have like ADHD, but I can get distracted, especially if it's not something I really want to be doing, and I'll mess up every time. I'm bad about turning my back on my machines. I love to be able to put my embroidery on and walk away. That's not a good thing. Not all the time. And that being the case, that part for me is frustrating. So you have to know that this is, when you sit down to do embroidery, it's a commitment. You have to babysit it for the most part. You have to watch what's going on. You have to pay attention. You don't need to be stressed out. Okay? You don't need to be stressed out in here doing embroidery. And it's supposed to be happy embroidery, right? So all of this needs to be taken into account when you're doing embroidery. So stress, Maria, you're saying stress is a killer. You don't realize it until you wind up in the ER with the doctors asking you if you want to be resuscitated. No, we don't want to be resuscitated or have to even get to the point where that's even necessary. So that being the case, you have to be careful with stress in a business. And I will tell you this, when it comes to doing embroidery for a business, you will get stressed. You will get stressed if you're not careful with how you handle your customers. Because I personally have customers who know that I know how I am. So I set my turnaround time. I have an extended turnaround time. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So we're going kind of like personal right now. So this is the low down dirty baby's booty. Personal experience baby's booty, right? When I first started, I would tell them 2-week turnaround time, 1-week turnaround time, I have it done. But what I neglected to remember is this, which is ironic. I forgot to remember this shirt, right? I don't know if you can see the whole thing. Let me stand up so that you can see it. This says wife, mom, and boss, right? So yeah, I'm the boss of my own company, right? But I'm also a wife and a mom. And even though my kids are teenagers, I'm still a mom. So when my son has to be picked up from work, he can't get home from work because he doesn't have his own car, he doesn't have his license yet, or he's not a single licensed person, and he needs to be picked up early at 3:30 instead of at 4:30. Guess who's gonna have to do it? It doesn't matter that I'm in the middle of an order. Because Uber is expensive, cab is expensive, riding the bus is, not quite convenient to where we are. So it's like people tend to forget when they go into this particular business that you have to set some parameters so as to be sure that your orders get done. And I have uh, a life of busy. My husband has his own business, and I help him run that with his paperwork and the administrative part. I have my own business. I have my household to run. There's numerous things that I have to keep in mind when doing embroidery, okay, as a business. So when it comes to my turnaround time, the 2 weeks was not smart for me. So I had to extend it. You have to keep that in mind when you're doing your embroidery business. Yes, a fast turnaround is what everyone wants. not necessarily how that's going to work out, right? So please keep in mind there's a whole lot of avenues to it, and to make sure that your embroidery is happy embroidering, try not to put extreme stress on yourself when it comes to getting these orders out. And let your customers know, look, it's going to be this amount of time, and try your best to stick to it, but try not to get super stressed out. But you have to remember, if you have a family, it's going to be difficult sticking to that. So my kids and my husband get me out of this shop all the time, and I'm like, y'all, I gotta work, but they get me out of here. So um Maria, you get distracted too when you're trying to do too many things at the same time. I all the time. I work on two different orders. I had to learn that's not a good thing for me. Because I'll make a mistake, or I'll turn my back on one to go to the other, and now both of them are messed up. I can't tell you how many times that has happened. So I kind of had to back up and just stop and say, you know what, one at a time. You know. Miss Tori, you asked what stabilizer would you suggest for t-shirts and onesies because it's stretchy. All right, t-shirts and onesies are stretchy fabric, jersey knit type fabrics. You want to use a cutaway. A lot of people suggest cutaway mesh. I actually have better results from just regular cutaway, medium to lightweight cutaway. And it helps stabilize the fabric a lot better, in my personal opinion. Some people take the mesh stabilizer and they crisscross it. Okay, so they don't put both pieces down the exact same way. They either crisscross it this way, or they turn one this way and one that way in the hoop to help give it some extra stability. So you may want to consider doing that. But I personally just use regular medium weight cutaway, not tearaway at all with jersey. No, don't ever use tearaway with jersey knit, because it's just gonna make you mad. And that's another question. Another viewer on YouTube asked about, because he was saying that the other machine leaves a lot of gaps in the embroidery, and it makes a mess because it's not up against each other like it's supposed to. And a lot of times it's not the machine that's doing it, it's the way it's hooped. If you don't have it hooped correctly, you're going to have gaps in your embroidery. It's just that's because of the stretch of the material. So whenever there's a gap, 9 times out of 10, it's not the embroidery, it's not the machine, not the digitizing, and it's not the machine. It's the stretch of the material, and it's shifting for some kind of reason. It's shifting in that hoop, and it's going to cause a gap. So definitely keep your cutaway stabilizer there, and get your embroidery on. I do not hunter boat wash t-shirts before embroidering. I do not. The reason why I do not wash anything, nothing, don't care what it is, onesies, t-shirts, towels. I wash nothing before I embroider on it, because you do not know if the person that is receiving that embroidery is allergic to the detergent or not. Okay? You do not know if the person is allergic to the detergents or not. I do not wash anything beforehand. That's not my place. If you want to wash it, fine. But when they get it, it's good. I mean, when you buy an item from the store, it's not washed ahead of time. And most fabrics nowadays are pre-shrunk anyway. So people are like, oh, well, you got to take into account for shrinkage and blah, blah. In most instances, the fabric is already pre-shrunk. So you don't have to worry about washing it for shrinkage or anything like that. You can let a customer know, I did not wash it beforehand. There may be some shrinkage. It shouldn't be, but there may be. I have yet to have somebody give me something back and say this shrunk. I haven't had it happen at all, and I've embroidered on some of everything. So no, I don't wash anything ahead of time for no reason. Um, Miss Gayleen, it's okay. I'm running late actually because my internet was acting monkey, so I'm late as well. Tony Collins, I asked for a week turnaround. I run the local library. Cool. And plan all the events as well as my business. I had a potential customer ask for a hat done in 2 days this week. I couldn't do it. You know, we have to be realistic, you know, with what all weight is upon us. And another thing that I tend to forget, and a lot of other people tend to forget, when you're doing embroidery and you give a certain turnaround, you're not also taking into account what happens if you mess up. I mean, you may not mess up, the machine may mess up. You break a needle, it stitches off, or like the shirt wasn't hooped correctly and you got a gap, or whatever the case may be. What do you do when you mess up? What is your policy for when you mess up? Like for instance, this is a shirt that I did for a customer. Um, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I saw it. It was sitting there. This is an error. Okay, this is a mistake. This is a bad shirt. I'm going to redo it. Even though someone said don't redo it, I'm going to redo this shirt. Okay. So this customer wanted this shirt. He wanted the fish, a crappie, embroidered on his shirt. This is not finished. You know what happened? I hooped this shirt. It was perfect. It was stitching perfectly. And on the big machine, not the little machine, it was on the big machine, and I actually hooped the shirt. Okay, this could have been an instance where I could have floated this shirt, but I'm going to tell you why I did not float this shirt. I did not float it because it's a stretchy type of material on this polo shirt. A little more stretchy actually than the regular polo shirts. All right. So I was like, I'm not gonna float this. I'm actually gonna hoop it because I didn't want it to stretch and leave a gap in the embroidery of this fish. So I hooped it. And do you know, while the shirt was stitching out, while it's on the machine and it's stitching out, the hoop came apart. It came apart. That wasn't, you know, I didn't do anything to it. I didn't put the wrong color. I didn't bump the machine. It's just some kind of which way, the way I had it hooped. It could have been the slick material because this shirt is kind of slick. There's a sheen to it. I don't know if you can notice that or not. That hoop came apart on me, you guys. This was the last shirt. I had, was it 3 or 4 shirts? This was the last one. So now this shirt is ruined. Okay, it's not finished. I probably could float it and try and line it back up and, you know, get it to finish, because I'm pretty good, if I should say so myself, I'm pretty good about lining things back up on the machine after it's been taken off or whatever and getting it pretty much back on track. But this is such a complex design, I didn't want to chance it. I went and bought another shirt. So I'm just going to redo this shirt. So I had to pay this particular shirt. Thank goodness the customer got it from Walmart. It was $10, right? So I just bought another shirt. I'm going to embroider another shirt. That one is just going to go in the trash, or either I'll keep it for practice on other parts of the shirt, whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But you have to, so now that's a delay. You have to stop the press, go get another shirt. If you even know where they got the shirt from, go get another shirt, come back and redo it all over again. That takes time. So you have to keep in mind errors as well, and take time for that. I can't tell you how many orders, and this, for me, one of my biggest problems, which, you know, this is again deep down dirty baby's booty therapy session, you know, type situation. But when things like that happen, if I mess up, it irritates me, and I'm just like, you know what, throw you off to the side. I'm going to do something else, because I have to change direction, because I'll get frustrated, you know. So because I'm tossing it to the side, well, something that should have been done that day, it adds 3-4 days to it because I'm irritated with it and I don't even want to touch it. You know, so I'm having to learn to deal with that as well, because that's a really bad problem I have. If that embroidery job makes me mad, it's a wrap. I'm just gonna set it up to side and be like, forget it. I'll come back to it later. So all of these things are things that you would really need to think about. And when you're giving a turnaround time, that's why I'll say something, instead of 2 weeks, I'll say 2 to 4 weeks. 2 to 4 week turnaround time. Let them know ahead of time, whether it be in the invoice or whatever the case may be. It's in the invoice, 2 to 4 weeks, so that you have that extra time in the event of. Had to go when my husband was in the hospital. That was extra time taken away. You have to keep those types of things in mind. But one thing's for certain, trying to remember to stay in contact with customers whenever there is a delay. Staying in contact with them helps. And I'm not good at that either. I'm not good at that either. So a lot of things that I'm having to be humble and learn to admit to and work on. And that's easier said than done sometimes. Kim Lace says, I'm still learning how embroidery as I work part-time in retail here. It's hard to get time to sew. When you're working retail, ooh, girl, retail takes up a lot of time. And it can actually be draining, because you're coming from an environment where there's uh, diligent customer service and a lot of work. Retail is hard work. And it takes the wind out of your sails. So when you come home, sometimes you don't even feel like doing embroidery. So I definitely understand. So it can be difficult when you work. And as you see, like Grandma's Hands, she says she works a full-time day job and starting your business part-time. You hope it grows so you can eventually quit your day job. And you said you think you will do a 2-week turnaround time from the date a deposit or payment is received. 2-week turnaround is a good time, but keep in mind you're working. You're working. So let them know. What I've done in the past is I'll say 2 to 4 weeks. Generally, I get it done a lot faster than that. And if I get it done faster than that, I'll let you know. But generally, my turnaround time is 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. Let them know, when there's a delay. Josh, yeah, I've gotten a lot of gaps lately. Definitely check your hooping, dear. Hooping, hooping, hooping is huge, especially when you're dealing with stretchy fabrics. Okay, those stretchy fabrics will leave gaps every single time, and it's people say, "Oh, well, the digitizing was bad. It was a bad design." And about no, it wasn't a bad design that you bought. In most instances, it's the material stretched in the hoop, and it's going to happen if that fabric isn't stabilized properly. So stabilization is very important, and a lot of people want to just float. They don't want to take the time to hoop. So when they float and it stretches, they want to get, blame the machine or blame the design, and that's not the case. You have to stabilize that fabric. It's just not any other way around that. The right stabilization will turn out flawless embroidery every single time, no matter how detailed it is. So you have to definitely use the right stabilization for flawless embroidery. Maria, you like to use cutaway poly mesh because it's light. You are so right about using the proper stabilizer. It will make a big difference as to how your work turns out. That is correct. That stabilizer, I don't, like I said, I particularly don't care for that super light stabilizer. I just don't. To me, it's not stable enough. But that's my personal opinion and how I embroider. Okay. And then too, the weight of the design makes a huge difference as well. If you're talking about a little onesie, but it's a huge dinosaur on it that's stitched into like this fish, I would not put this fish on a onesie. And this isn't even um the full actual fish because it's a whole lot of dense scales and layers of thread on this thing, and it's just not ideal for a lightweight onesie. It just isn't. Matter of fact, it's kind of technically too dense for this shirt, but we're making it happen with some medium weight cutaway. So keep that in mind when you're deciding what stabilizer you're going to use and how you hoop it. And Hunter, you're quite welcome. Thank you very much. And Mick and Rush, G, I like the sound of that. I learned so much from you. Thank you. You're welcome. Nicole Smith, hi to you too. Maria, I don't wash my items either. It just went away from me. You don't wash your items either. What I do is steam iron it. That works as well. That works as well. Miss Harriet, good night to you too if you watch the replay. Risa says, I just discovered your videos 2 days ago and have learned so much. So happy to catch you live. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Risa. I appreciate you letting me know that. We try to be helpful around here. Take a moment, join the Google Plus group if you don't mind. That will also give you access to others who are very experienced in the world of embroidery. And in the event that you can't get in touch with me, they are available to answer questions as well. Miss Tori, you're quite welcome. Joni, thank you very much. I appreciate you letting me that. Like grandma's hands, welcome back, my darling. Right? I will state 2 to 4 weeks on the invoice and on your website. That will help, and it will save you some trouble. Because if it takes closer to that 4 weeks for whatever reason, then your base is covered, and you can let them know, well, I'm sorry, because this is the thing. When you start getting orders, that's what people also don't think about. When I first started, I was like, oh man, 2 weeks is too much time. I know I'm gonna get things done. But when I'm starting to get 40-piece order, 100-piece order, 200-piece order, or an order that it's difficult because this particular shirt has all this on it, but that particular shirt has something different and all that on it. And now I'm also including vinyl in my business as well as the bling. So all of that, all these different elements, it's adding to the time. So then another thing people don't realize with embroidery is you have to design. You have to be a designer as well. Case in point, I have one design that I have one order where it's a sheet set. Okay. Well, you think, oh, well, it's just a name on a pillowcase and a name on the sheets. No, it's more than that, because you have to understand it's a sheet set. So, of course, that automatically means it's going to be bigger. 4x4 machine is not even an option. Okay. Because 4-inch letters on a sheet or a pillowcase is not going to be sufficient. You have to go bigger. So that automatically puts me back on that machine. So if it's on that machine, nothing else can go on that machine because this order is on that machine. All right. First thing. Second thing, you have to find or go out and get the lettering that big to go on there. And depending on the size of the name, if the name is Eve, like mine, well, you can get some pretty big letters and fit that in pretty big because it's EVE. It's just 3 letters. But if the name is Mackenzie, well, you might can go big with the letters, but the bigger the letter, the wider the letter too. So you're not going to be able to fit the whole Mackenzie. So you have to become a designer. You have to arrange all of that and pray that it's still going to be big enough for the customer, because now the name is longer. You see what I'm saying? So there's a whole lot of elements where you have to sit down in front of your computer and actually design, to keep from having to hoop and rehoop and rehoop and rehoop, which takes even more time. So there's a whole lot of elements that go into that 2 to 4 week turnaround that nobody on the outside sees. But we need to keep that in mind when we're quoting an order. It can be as simple as a baby bib. It can be as simple as a burp cloth. But when you start going into other things, there's a whole lot more involved with the embroidery and the order process. So definitely keep that in mind. Did my thing? Yeah, it backed up. I'm so sorry. When you first started, Miss Nicole says, when you first started embroidery, they told me I had to hoop tightly. That caused me a lot of problems. You don't always have to hoop anything very tightly, actually, because what happens is if it's too tight, then it doesn't have the natural give that some fabrics will need, and it can also distort the embroidery. So you don't want to do that either. Kim Lace, it will be a long time before I start a business in embroidery. I need more confidence in your work before you start a business. And that's understandable. That is definitely understandable. There's nothing wrong with that, because you do want to put your best foot forward. However, if there is some part that you are good at and you know that you've done it many times before and you haven't had an issue, you can offer that. Just offer it on a limited basis, or, give it a shot. Give it a shot and see how it works for you. But that's the thing as well with embroidery. Not every order is going to be the same. Not every order is going to be the same. And I can't tell you how many times the customer is like, hey, can you do this? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I should be able to do that. That shouldn't be an issue. But then when I get in here and I'm in front of the computer and I'm designing it and laying it out, and I'm like, oh my God, I told these people I could do this. And is actually not as easy as I thought it was going to be, and caused myself a problem. So there is a lot involved with it, but it can be done. And you have to keep an open mind on how you're going to accomplish it. So sometimes you have to do some tricks and pull some stuff out your sleeves, but it can be done. It can be done. Josh says time and ask questions. Yes, you can ask me questions anytime you would like. Nicole Smith says, "Hey girl, like Grandma's hands, thank you so much for this channel and support. You're quite welcome." That's something that I wished for when I first started, and it was difficult to find, or kind of like a hidden secret type situation. So I felt impelled to have something open where you can discuss, you can ask questions, you can get advice, you can get personal attention. Now, as we keep climbing above the 7,000 mark, fortunately for the most part with our chats and whatnot, it's easy to handle, but if it gets out of control, I may have to have help. But most people in here with us, they'll have a tendency to jump right in and answer questions as well, and I really appreciate that. I don't have a problem with that at all. So definitely thank you to you all, because it's more than just me. Miss Tracy says you just keep practicing. Please do. And once you do get comfortable, dive in a little bit at a time, and don't take on entirely too much at once. Like I did, where I just expanded, was like, I'll do anything. And once I started doing anything, it was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Miss Maria says, Eve, I saw a video on YouTube with a lady who wrapped a bandage called a kobun around a small portion of her hoop. It looks like an ace bandage, but it adheres to itself. It keeps the hoop from slipping. That's also called vet wrap. I'm trying to think of another name for it, because it's ironic. I actually have to use that whenever I go and receive medical attention, because band-aids, I'm allergic to adhesive on the band-aids and stuff. So they usually use that wrap on me whenever I go. And yes, it can keep the hoop from slipping. But what I've noticed, and I'll have to see if I can find this lady. But one of the things that I noticed when I did try to use it, so say for instance, I put some here and here and here, where in the areas where there's gappage. Okay. So when you go to hoop it, it doesn't seal very tightly all the way around. So I'm thinking I'm missing a step or something. And it's something else for me to look into to try and get that figured out, because that's a big problem for me, as well as some other people with hoops. After a while, they just don't hoop quite as tightly and evenly all the way around, because that's key in keeping your stuff stable, because it can pull up here, whereas the rest of it is stable like it needs to be. And a lot of people use that vet wrap for that. I haven't been able to use it successfully, so I have to look into it a little bit more. But for the most part, I use my fast frames on the bigger machine, and on the smaller machine, I try and stick to stuff that I know really won't be that big of a deal, with keeping it even all the way around. So, but I do need to look into and see what else is out there. I haven't had an opportunity to go out and look at all the newfangled stuff lately, so I do need to get back out there. Sammy says, I am just starting up my embroidery business as well as working a full-time job, taking my time and trying to soak in all the information that I can to make my transition as easy as possible. Love, Miss Eve. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good policy to have, is to soak up that information first, because you don't want to jump into it and then having to learn the hard way, so to speak. But there are still going to be things that come up that you can't anticipate, because you don't know what's coming, and it may not be a situation that I've ever dealt with. So there are still going to be some learning curves as you get into it, so don't be surprised. But it is good to get as much as you can under your belt prior to. So yeah, definitely. You said do a video on vinyl. I do have some on. Wait a minute, are you talking about vinyl on the t-shirts? I can. I can do a video on vinyl. I wasn't going to. Someone else asked about doing video on the rhinestones. And I kind of wanted to not really go into too much on the channel, but I may get into it because the vinyl is a lot of fun. I've had a ton of fun using vinyl, and a ton of fun with stones. I've actually come to really love doing the bling stones. And actually I'm starting to throw bling parties. So it's the bling is a lot of fun, and I've even used both. I've used vinyl and bling at the same time. I've done embroidery and bling at the same time. Vinyl. I haven't put my vinyl in embroidery yet, but vinyl is a lot of fun. I really do like vinyl. So we may have to do that. Maria says, when I find the video, I'll let you know who she is. When you have blood drawn at the doctor's office, they usually wrap it around your arm when they finish and save it. Yeah. I actually have a roll of it. It's actually not that expensive, and they got it at Dollar Tree. They sell it at Dollar Tree, so you can go to Dollar Tree and purchase it. I have seen it there. Josh says, I have translating also soon. Once your soul artist level 1 comes in, your main client is Martial Art Studio, and they want Chinese words into digitized work. That would be cool. That would be cool. I'm actually even looking into Spanish, doing Spanish as well. So let me know. Josh, keep up with me and let me see some of your work. I would love to see that. I bet that's going to be gorgeous. If you're not in the Google Plus group, the link is below. If you click that and join up, you can post pictures of your work. I would love to see pictures. And that's for anyone else that's in here. We'd love to share images of our work in the Google Plus group. And the cool thing is you can see what someone else is doing and get ideas or tips or even tricks. We also share whenever something's on sale somewhere and somebody may want to take advantage of it. So definitely give that a look. So on the Google Plus group, please, I would love to see that. Gayleen asks, how do you organize your fonts? I have a folder. I have one main folder that's embroidery. Then I have a folder that is fonts, a folder that is applique, a folder that is monogram, a folder, so on and so forth. And in my fonts folder, I have them all separated by the name of the font. I really should look into doing two folders, one that says script and one that says print, because oh my gosh, the scrolling that I have to do. But that's one option, having a folder, one that says script, one that says print, and then by the name. That's how mine is organized, and I have to scroll all the time. But there's like Applique Corner is the name of one of the websites where I buy my fonts, and what I do is I put they also have a link for these on their pages, and it's a cute little postcard basically that you can print out, and that way you can flip through your fonts and see them really quickly at a glance what fonts you have. And I absolutely love that option with this particular website. So this could also be an option for you, is a photo book with pictures of your fonts. And these, I have them separated by print versus script. And I also have them where I can know which ones are a 1/4 inch or at the beginning, the ones that are much larger are at the back of the book. So, that's another thing to keep in mind in helping keep your fonts organized. You can scroll, flip through that and say, oh, Zookeeper, that's the font I was looking for. And then you can go straight to it easier on your in your program, Sewit Pro, or on the computer. So that's how I have them. Happy to be back. Yeah, sorry about that. Even though I'm going to sign off here in a minute because I done took up 2 hours of you guys' time. Vet wrap is the other name for it. Yeah, that's what I was using. Like Grandma's Hand says, I agree. Do one thing great, then move on to the next. And now I don't have it. There we go. Project type. I do blankets and pillows, and now I embroider on them. Now moving on to kitchen decor. I really want to do curtains and embroidery. That is going to be gorgeous. So please definitely keep posting the pictures of your work. I do like the reading pillows. Awesome job on those. Tracy says, looping. No, I'm not looping. Fortunately, right now the stream has been stable, so let's leave it that way. Josh, you use small binder clips. I have used binder clips before, but on the 4x4 machine, it bogs it down, so I have to be careful. But I also use the super clips on the big machine, so definitely do that. Cheryl, are the baby bib patterns still available? No, ma'am. The baby bib patterns were limited edition. There were only 50 released, and all 50 have been mailed out. So I may consider bringing them back. I have so many people that keep asking for the patterns, and it just needed to be cost effective for me to put them out. And I don't want to go up on the price of them. So that's why I just kind of was like, okay, you know what, we're just gonna leave well enough alone. But I may put them back out. I'm not sure. If I can get him to come down on the price, I'll put them back out. But he wasn't budging at that time. Maria, have you just tried just putting a thin single layer of the wrap on the hoop? No, I have. Wait a minute. Yeah, I did. What happened with that? I can't remember what happened, but I did try just one layer and something didn't cooperate. And for the life of me right now, I can't remember what it was. But I think I have another idea with that, and I'm gonna try it and see how it works and keep you guys updated on that. Tracy, you're in Rochester, New York. Cool beans. You're cold up there right now, I'm willing to bet. Tony Collins says you love working with vinyl. Vinyl is awesome. Yes, it is. Let us see. Google Plus group, Nicole. Yes, there is a Google Plus group. I do have a Baby's Booty page on Facebook, but as far as an actual group, it's on Google Plus because not everybody likes Facebook. So you can click. How much does it cost? There is no charge to join the Google Plus group at all. So just click the link in the description below. We don't charge for any of that. Sheila Cushionberry, do you just pick out the font you're going to use in a project, or do you give customer a few choices to pick from? Depending upon the job. Most instances, if it's in most instances, I give the customer some choices. I ask them, do you want cursive or do you want print? If they say print, then I'll give them like 3-4 choices and say, here are some of your choices. And then they'll either say, ew, I don't like any of those. Do you have any that looks more like this? And that gives me something to go by. But in a lot of instances, most of my customers, they come already in mind with what they want. And I don't have to figure out what font to do. So it depends on the job. But I don't really like to give them too many options to choose from, because the few times I did do that, they were like, oh my God, that's just so many options. Just pick one, and so I just usually pick just 3 and give them those options. Maria says, I'm still working on how to organize your folders. Love how you set up your book. Thank you. I spent all afternoon yesterday trying to find one of my designs that I knew I had. Girl, friend, when I tell you that this book isn't even an eighth of the amount of fonts that I have so many fonts. It's stupid. And I'm serious. I have so many fonts. It is literally stupid. And I constantly buy more. So, that being the case, I really do need a better method of organizing them, because in most instances I have like about 10 that I go to on a regular basis. But again, finding the time to actually sit down and organize all of this is impossible. So if you are not slammed with business now, this is a tip from the Baby's Booty. If I haven't ever given you a tip that you can use, I'm giving you one now. If you are not already up and going and swamped with your business, and you have time and you twiddling your thumbs and you're like, oh my God, when is business going to come? Organize your stuff now. Please, for the love of God. Organize your fonts. If you want to start a book like this, start now, because I'm trying to tell you, trying to go back and do all of this now is almost impossible. So organize your fonts, organize your designs, organize your all of that. Matter of fact, So What Pro has a sister program called So Cat. Actually, it's called So Cat, and it's a categorizing program where you can actually organize all of your embroidery designs, fonts included, and you can easily click on topics. Like, for instance, you can organize all of your animals in one folder without moving your files on your computer, which is really cool. You can do it either way. You can move the files on your computer, or you don't have to move the files on your computer. The program will know where to go get it without you having to move it. So that's really cool. But the program, you can set up trees, branches of trees. It's like the old school filing system on computers. So look into that. They also have a demo version that you can use to see how it works, and get that figured out. And I probably should do a video on it, actually, now that I think about it, because it's a learning curve to that one. But SoCat is great for keeping your files organized and being able to get to them quickly. I just haven't had the time to go through my hundreds of thousands of embroidery designs to get them organized to go into SoCat. So it's kind of pointless to use the program when I don't have time to use it to get it set up. So that's the cool thing about those that are just starting. You can get ahead of the ball game now, because when you start finding these sales and these deals on designs and fonts, it's going to make your collection bigger and bigger and bigger, so you can easily keep it organized, from the beginning. It's almost like moving into a fully furnished, fully loaded house that somebody has lived in for 20 years and they were a pack rat, and now all of a sudden you want to organize their house instead of moving them into a fresh, brand new house and helping them keep things organized from the jump as they start to build their collection. That's pretty much how that boils down to. And I kind of like pack rat for the last 10 years, and now I'm trying to organize that stuff and the embroidery designs and stuff. It's kind of funny now that I think about it, but that's how that goes. So Sheila Cushionberry says no cost. Yes, no cost for that. Thank you. Miss Tori, have you considered doing the baby bibs as an instant download that we can just print out? I have. I need someone who's more technologically inclined to help me with that. I'm very technical savvy. I don't have time to get it done and figure it out quickly, and that's where my problem has come in and why I haven't done it yet. So if you know of someone and you're watching and you would like to say, hey, give her a shout and ask her, tell her what she needs to do to get that done, you let me know. I'll get it done and we'll put it out there. Do you use your Cricut for the vinyl or a larger machine, Miss Joni? I use the Cricut, even though I'm almost to the point of not using the Cricut, because not only is the 12 inches limiting, but Cricut design space is my Achilles heel. I don't like Cricut design space at all, and that's bothering me. I love my Cricut. Love the Cricut cutting machine. It's a cute little machine. It's perfect. It works great. I haven't had any issues out of it. I despise Cricut design space. So I'm trying to figure that part out. We'll see how that goes. Miss Karen, Miss Eva, I'll get a hold of you tomorrow if you don't mind. Messed up your bobbin case. Uh-oh. Got stressed, so you quit for today. I'm trying to tell you, when you get stressed, you walk away. You gotta walk away from stuff, and I'm sorry about that. We'll talk tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Wednesday. I should be okay to get up with you tomorrow. Wait a minute. What am I talking about? It's Wednesday. Today is Sunday. Oh my God. Monday. We should be able to talk Monday. I'm sorry, y'all. Can you tell it's getting late for me? Oh my God, Hans, are you for real right now? Oh my God. Sorry, y'all. Let us do this for him. Is he still there? And how did this person even get in there? Okay, well, that person is gone. Kim Lace, That's what I was thinking. Oh no, let's go back. Oh, there you are, Kim Lace. That's what you were thinking of doing with designs in your brother NV500D to embroider all designs and samples. Oh, cool. And place in folders for your reference. Now, that's cool. That's cool. But that is a whole heck of a lot of embroidery. That is a whole heck of a lot of embroidery. So if you do that, that's a lot of embroidery. How much is SoCat? You know what? I don't even know, my dear. I want to say $25. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm gonna take a moment and look that up real quick so that I can not be misleading you on that. Let's see. SoCat is, I'm pretty sure it's $25. Pretty good at knowing the prices of the different things, but sometimes I get it wrong. It might be 40 actually. Now that I think about it, it might be $40. SoCat is, and I hope I'm not causing you guys to lag by clicking off of the video and going online here because it's scrolling. So I'm sure I am tearing y'all up, and I apologize. I should have looked it up on my phone. I don't know what I was thinking. Maria says, you are so right about getting the designs organized. I started, but I don't like how I did it and didn't continue. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. It's a pain when you're trying to go back and do it instead of doing it right then from the beginning. Lisa asked, do you use the Cricut for rhinestones? I do. Yes, ma'am, I do. Tony, I use Make the Cut for my Cricut. I use Make the Cut as well, and that is the only saving grace for Cricut Design Space. The only problem is, I don't know why, but sometimes there are files that I'll edit with Make the Cut, and when I save it as an SVG and then go back to open it in Design Space to cut it out the way I like, it won't open. Cricut Design Space says something's wrong with the file and it won't open it, so it just kind of ticks me off. Again, can you tell I get irritated easily? It ticks me off, so again, me and Cricut Design Space are at odds a lot. I'm just gonna put it that way. Lisa says your vinyl cutter does not cut so well. Do you have the Cricut? Because the Cricut works so well for rhinestone patterns. It works great for mine. It really does. I do a lot of rhinestone patterns, and it works perfectly. And I mean back to back to back to back. So you just need to make sure that your setting, your pressure is right. As a matter of fact, for my rhinestones, I keep mine on bonded fabric. If your Cricut has that setting, mine is bonded fabric. So you would be your monitor. Oh, cool. I'll keep that in mind. I'll let you know. Tony says it's 40. Yeah, I figured it was either 25 or 40. I couldn't remember. Thank you for looking that up because it was causing me to lag. Utah Grandma says, remember to hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate Miss Bickup for the super chat, the $5 super chat earlier. That was phenomenal. Thank you so very much because every penny does go into our videos and trying to make sure that we have everything taken care of on this channel like we should. So thank you. Lisa says you have a 40-inch vinyl cutter. Nice. Nice. And Artsology says silhouette cameo. A lot of people like the cameo. They're either Cricut or cameo, and I actually prefer the industrial cutters like US Cutter and so on and so forth. It's just something about commercial that just makes the world go round. I absolutely love it. So I'm considering right now, I'm at a toss up between another heat press or a industrial cutter. So trying to figure that out. And I have two Cricuts. So why am I looking to buy another cutter? Go figure. Yeah, that's how life goes around. Yas, hit that thumbs up. Yas, Miss Cheryl. Yas. Good night, Miss Karen. Kim Lay says you're looking to get in the Brother Scan and Cut. Girlfriend, that Brother Scan and Cut out here is the bees and knees, but it's brother, so I would expect no less. You guys, it is 59 minutes and 30 seconds into this second version of our live chat for Sunday, so going on 9 p.m. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button. I really appreciate you all being here with me this evening and taking the time to watch, even with video technical difficulties. I apologize as well for that. Also, I appreciate your questions and your comments and chiming in. I look forward to that every single time you guys come into our live session. Please be sure to tune in again with us, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, for the next live chat next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We try to keep it at an hour, and only because of the technical difficulties, I stretched it out another hour. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Also, in the links below, you'll find links for our Google Plus group and our newsletter, I Don't Spam. And you're welcome to share images of your projects there, and I really appreciate that. So you guys, please keep all your questions handy for our next chat. Let us know when you purchase your new machine and your new baby so we can keep the bells ringing for you. And until the next time we see you, which will hopefully be next week, I want you to have happy embroidering. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a great night. I appreciate the support and your kindness. So you guys take care. Bye.